You are welcome to the Institute. The study of Institute is study of order of universe and its application. The first application is what we study in the Institute is macrobiotics, we call. We study in the high school or colleges. We study what? What is atom? What is man? What is animal? What is star? What is stone? Etc. We study what is society. But we don't study why star there, why plants are there, why pumpkin is yellow, why human being has this form, why he speaks that way, why cancer arises. What is cancer? You study, but why cancer arises? Why? We don't study. Also, we don't study how. Why and how. How star appears and disappears. How this human life appear and disappear. And how atom change, appear and disappear. We do not study how. So, modern knowledge do not have dynamic understanding of phenomena and non-phenomena. Modern understanding is whatever we can see, we can detect, we can touch, so-called sensory detectable things. We think that exist, and that is that. This is way. But why that arises? How that goes? We don't know. Why this earth is rotating? Why this earth appear? How? We don't know. We don't study. So, modern way of thinking is very static thinking, not dynamic thinking. So modern peoples, because of these educations, modern people thinking are very static and very fixed ideas, and also very inflexible. Furthermore, modern studies study of differences. Study of difference. Human body is different from plants. Plants is different from stone. Stone is different from star. So we think everything different, therefore we separate. Separation. We separate it, then we try to understand each one of them separately. independently. So, study of universe, study of life has been separated, divisionized in various departments: physics, chemistry, sociology, biology, astronomy, this and that and that. Each department also separate into 10, 20, hundreds smaller divisions. And each division create so-called specialists to study that portion, that part. Thousands of specialists are created. When we understand sickness, we separate each sickness: brain sickness, eye sickness, kidney sickness, heart sickness. Everything separate. Cancer is oncologist. Then reproductive organ like gynecologist. This and they do not have any relations in between. Yet human body is one. Same blood is running, same lymph liquid running, same nervous system going on, and as totally functioning. So when you separate it, it becomes study of dead, study of fragmental dead, fragments of dead body. And study naturally become, understanding naturally become conceptual, not alive, conceptual. For that, as a result of that kind of studies, suppose when we apply the food, some study think food should be kept long time. So they invent some preservative, this, that, etc., and start to use. But that thinking does not include whether this is good for health, whether this is good for mind, whether this is good for economy. Do not include that thinking. So, one thing can be achieved, so-called storage or preserving long time, but the other part ignored. So in other part, various kinds of undesirable result happens. This is modern ways, divided thinkings, divisional thinkings, analyzing thinkings that creates natural those undesirable results. When we see fire and harm, and when we see, instead of differences, see similarity, or sameness, then study become very different, very different. Here is human body. Here is plant. Here is star. Here is some ocean tide or whatever, ocean. the separate now everything. And instead of separation, if we try to see the sameness, similarity, sameness, then we are trying to see all common factors, unifying factors, universal factor, instead of divided individual characteristics. For example, man is moving, acting, changing, growing, dying, moving and changing. This also moving and changing, from seeds, growing, expanding, then dying out, etc. Changing, moving and changing. This also moving and changing. This also moving and changing. Then moving and changing are the common factor, universal factor, which we can see, we can experience everything. Same way, when we see this, what kinds of structures? These structures, this form, very different. Very different. So it is understandable that they separated this. But that seeing forms or structures, this different, is only shallow observations. Suppose ocean is moving spiralically. What is star? That galaxy. Galaxy move how? Spiralically. What is plants move or plants grow? If we see like this, it doesn't grow, doesn't move. But from the beginning, if you observe from the above, how plants is growing. Plants do not grow this way. Plants grow that way, this way grow. Spiralically. What is human beings? When you see your boyfriend, girlfriend, you become blind, or she's wonderful. But how she grow in mother's womb after she was born? She was growing. She was like that in mother's womb. And this is spirals. This is spirals. This is spirals. And here are also spirals. Spiralically grow. Each organ spiralically grow. So, we discovered now two things, commonness. Everything is changing, everything moving. Second, moving and structure and forms are spiralically move, spiralically forms. Third is what? Commonness. What is the commonness? First, everything change and move. Second, moving, changing pattern is spiralic. The third is what? Any commonness? Anyone?
Changing form.
Changing form is spiral. Any other commonness? Any other similarity or sameness? Any other? What did you eat tonight? Since your brain doesn't work. Did you chew well? This has beginning and end. 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 Okay? All right? Every phenomenon, everything in the universe has beginning and end. All phenomena have the beginning and the end. Okay? Now that we discover three same things. Okay? How about next? Anyone else? Anyone?
Changing to each other.
Changing to each other. Pardon? Pardon? Growth. Growth is change. Change, move. Any other?
Reproduction.
Reproduction.
Reproduce.
Any other?
Everything has a back, a front.
Very good. Yeah. Everything has front and back, inside, outside. Everything has front and back, inside, outside. Front and back, inside, outside. Okay? Everything. Okay? All right? So, you should discover more. Okay? Several more common factors. Okay? Then you understand everything is changing. Everything moves spiralically. Everything has a beginning and end. Everything has front and back, or inside, outside, whatever. Okay? These discovering are, those discoverings are discovering the order of universe, law of universe. What is universe? We are discovering now. Okay? Right? Because they are the part of universe. They are not separate living, right, from universe. They are the within universe, part of universe. So we are now discovering law of universe. What is universe? Okay? The ancient words or religious words that we call law of God. Law of God. We are discovering law of God. We are discovering, modern words, universal laws or law of order of universe. Okay? Or life, the principle of life. We are discovering. These laws are not changing. Okay? These laws are not changing. Everything changes and moves. Everything in this world, in this universe, has front and back, all phenomena. Everything moves spiralically, except those laws are not changing. So they are invincible, unchangeable, and universal, beginningless, endless law. Endless, beginningless order. You may say That is God's permanent law. So, because modern science, modern thinking took this road, try to see differences. So they lost the view of the universal law. So now no longer can connect each other. It's very difficult now. Okay? Suppose nutrition connect with politics, or politics connect with astronomy, or cancer connect with the religion or economies, whatever. It's very difficult to connect this. How connect the atomic science to the problem of oscillators? It's a totally different problem in this way of thinking. Modern science, modern education. But in this way of thinking, that is very well connected. Cancer is also this. That is changing, that moves spiralically, that has beginning and end, and that has front and back, and same things, politics, same things, economies, same thing, family relations, same things, everything. Okay? That eyeglass, magic eyeglass, to discover order of the universe in everything. That is the first step of our studies. To discover in everything the universal, permanent, invincible order of the universe. That is our step one studies. Okay? Step two study is then what is, how working these laws. How actually working those laws. That laws, therefore, we see front and back, and also beginning and end. Everything changes. Everything moves spirally. So there are certain laws, or certain structures, mechanism is how. That mechanism is everything has relativity. Relativity. Like beginning and end, or front and back, or whatever. Spiral, then center and periphery. Relativities. So between relativities, what kinds of force are primary relativity, primary relative force? Because everything moves spiralically, so centripetality going towards the inside. That then after each center then go out. Centrifugality. These two primary forces is governing this all relative phenomena, all phenomena. Centripetality, centrifugality. Okay? You may say contraction, the expansion. So because of that, each one moves moment to moment, time to time, day to day, season to season, move, change. So that's order, change of relative change, right? Order of relative change. Its primary forces named yin and yang. Yin, centrifugality. Yang, centripetality. Contraction, expansion, or contraction, expansion. Then, when things contract, expand, so centripetality, that means yang, change into yin. When expand, start again contract, like heart, expand, contract, expand, contract. Same things, our arms, expand, contract, expand, contract. Our hand, contract, expand, right? Everything, all cells, all organs, so all plants, leaves, stars, or whatever, move between two forces. So there were always the change either moyang or moing or changing in between. That make waves up and down, or make faster, slower, or make the density or thin, and various relative change take place. So, in order to understand things, things are all phenomena, must understand this relative law of yin and yang. Otherwise, cannot understand what man, how, why plants, how ocean or galaxy or whatever move, change, how, cannot understand. And this grasping understandings, principle of yin and yang, that means principle of relativity. Between relative force, relative opposite force, what kinds of mechanical goes? That, unless we understand it, we cannot understand how change. So, that is the second step of studies. First step is finding out order of universe. Second step is finding out principle of yin and yang. Mechanic to change, to move. So that studies. After you accomplish that studies, these studies too, then you are equipped now, law of God and its mechanism. Okay? Or you may say order of universe and its mysteries, mechanical mysteries. Okay? You are equipped. So, you can understand now everything. And if you want to change, you can change it. by your will, by your participation, right? By your arts or technique. You can change it. Right? So become free. Become free. Free. Free from control, free from being destined, being governed. You become free. Because now you got the principle of life, law of life, law of the universe. So now you are free. You can apply it, you can change it, you can use them. Right? This person called free man. Right? Free man. Free man. Here we must understand differences of East and West thinkings. There are many differences there. Of course, similarity is there, sameness is there, because everyone is human beings. So everyone breathes, everyone eat, everyone act and sleep, everyone make imagination, everyone be active, so forth. As a human being, of course, Eastern people, Western people, same. But in that sameness, differences. Different way of thinking, different way of character, different characteristics there. Examples. There are many thousands of examples. The examples. Eastern people, when they write things, Japanese, Chinese, etc., they write from this way. This way they write. Or this way. West, they write toward this way. Like this way. Okay. Very opposite. Okay. Opposite. When Japanese book, therefore, or Chinese book, when you open, like that book, we must open first page this way. Okay? First page, second page. This side is last page. But the English book is this side first page. Also. Arabic countries also. Right? This side first page. This side last. And the way to read is go to that goes. Go that way. But Western countries go from here goes. Furthermore, when you write address, you write envelope. Suppose 17 Station Street. Brookline. Mass 02146, whatever, USA. Begin from small one to big one. Right? Small one to big one. But Japan, China, different. Begin this way they write. Suppose Japan. Okay? First Japan, they write vertically. Okay? Japan for the province. Okay? Or whatever, mass or whatever. Okay? Some province name. Okay, mass. Then Brookline. Brookline. Okay? Then street name. Street name. Then house number 17. Right from biggest one to the smallest one. Okay? This is from smallest one to biggest one. Okay? Same thing, names. Names. This, they write first, Mary so and so, right? Family name last. First names, Mary, individual name. Family name is last. Japan, China, different. Family name first, then individual name. From my name is, you call Michio Kushi. I write Michio Kushi. In this country, actually, but real way over there is Kushi Michio. Kushi Michio. Not Michio Kushi. Okay? Kushi Michio. So, you can understand. They express bigger one to small one. West express small one to bigger one. Okay? Difference. There are many differences. Okay? For example, in these countries, words, alphabet, like A, B, C, D, E, right? Alphabet, words. This is sound words, sound. So like Abraham or America or whatever, right? America, whatever. As a whole has meaning. But this is actually, practically speaking, this is sound word. But China, Japan is different. Meaning words. Meaning words. For example, they write like that. Lin or Liam or Hayashi. Various pronunciations. This is meaning is forest. Forest. Man. We write it man. This is pronunciation letter. Man. They write man. This is yin and yang supporting. Meanings. They call hito, or they call the nin or jin. It's a various pronunciation. Meanings. The letter is meaning letter. This West letter is the pronunciation letter, right? Sound letter. So, many things different. Okay? Many things different. Therefore, in these countries, people, this is common sense. That countries may not common sense. And they think common sense may not be in this country common sense. Because of different way of thinking. Let's take examples, like sex. In this country, put aside this present-day free sex age, okay? Perhaps you know, state has various different sex law, okay? All states in the United States, different. Among them, for example, unmarried boy and girl cannot live together. Still Massachusetts has such law. Okay? Many states have such law, even though they don't enforce now. Same things. Some laws say, some states say, homosexuality, etc. is banned. That is illegal. Some states say oral sex is illegal, but prohibited. There are many such laws about sex. Try to specify, control, or conceptually, or whatever framework wants to set. This should be, this to be. But like Japan, about sex, constitutional law is there. What is the law for sex? That is, if both parties agrees, can have any type of sex. That is matter of each those persons, the choice of decision. It's more flexible. Within it, homosexuality okay, or oral sex okay, or sleeping okay, this and that okay, or married, unmarried okay. But whole things, just in essence, is both parties should have agree. Both parties should agree. Cannot force opposite person if he hate or she hate. But if both agree, there is no regulation. But here, even both agree, many regulation is there. Something like this science, this science, this science, this science. Okay? And same things, health approach. Chemotherapy, radiotherapy, and this surgery are the approach for cancer. But other approaches are illegal. That is, American Medical Association, etc., is try to think that. Okay? But in the case of Japan or China, whatever profitable for patient, any approach is fine. Okay? So, yes, chemotherapy okay, radiation okay, surgery okay, acupuncture okay, dietary approach is okay, this approach okay, exercise okay, anything fine. Okay? Whatever patient feel, get the benefit from that. Okay? It's very different. Okay? Way of thinking, way of setup. So sometimes in this Westerner's eye, it's difficult to grasp the Eastern people's thinking. Eastern people say, oh, this is okay, or that's also fine. To the Westerners, it appears he is dishonest. He is agreeing with this. Then very different things, also he is agreeing that. It appears very dishonest. But the Eastern people, to the Eastern people, Western people's thinking is very conceptual and rigid and inflexible. About a couple of weeks ago, some Japanese business people came to visit to see me. They invented a capsule bed capsule. But their televisions, alarm clock, and those electromagnetic, right? Artificial they can control, etc. And also ionization of air, also they invent. They like to make hotels with that bed. One bed is basic bed, $2,000. All equipment attached about $4,000. And if they pile up that bed, you can make 2 stories, 3 stories bed. Anyway, they want to set up that kind of hotel in America. They wanted to find some business agent to promote or to become their representative's office. And they approached JETRO. JETRO means Japan External Trade Organizations, semi-governmental organizations. JETRO. JETRO has all over the world main cities office promoting Japan's export. My brother is that JETRO's one section's chief. That section is taking care of whole America, America and South America. So department head. So he introduced me to learn from me American situations. So those businessmen came. And those businessmen, before came to see me, they went to New York, and the New York's JETRO office, they exchanged ideas how to do. And these business people brought the ideas of the contract, etc. In that contract, they put the one article. If future there are disagreement, discrepancy there, difference of opinion there, or cannot promise, cannot do the promised time, this and that, etc., each other, then we amicably talk and we amicably settle. That we approach both parties, Japan and America, both parties should be always keeping amicable relationship. JETRO's advice, disagreement can't work in this country. This one clause is totally nonsense in this country to Westerners' eye. This one clause means no agreement. And once agreement set, there is either promise or non-promise, and agree or disagree. If disagree, there's either cancel the whole things or blame each other or whatever happens. This one clause, typical Japanese way, having flexibility, because they think anything may happen. Earthquake may happen, fire may happen, the depression may happen, this may happen, that may happen. So anything may happen, therefore, we should have the very flexible. At that time, we don't blame each other. We try to solve amicably. But if by that clause, whole agreement become ignored, worthless in this country. So they scratch their head. I see this approach is not good. Then how we should approach to American market? So they came, they asked me how to do. So I said, it's difficult because mind, way of thinking is different. And so it's not easy. Solution is either you find out someone who can understand Eastern mind, or they become Western mind. Either way. And for them, it's difficult to become Western mind. For American people, it's difficult to Eastern mind. Then what is the difficulties? Why they go? There we must know. Why such difference there? There's some very interesting story that in the meeting of East and West. Please read this book. This book is a must. Meeting of East and West. F.S.C. Northrop. This is Professor Northrop, is Yale University professor. He might have died. Yale University. He is a philosopher, and he wrote this very substantial book, The Meeting of East and West. In this book, he vividly explained these differences. The approach is different. And in that book, some examples. Some Western American travelers in Hong Kong took the rickshaw, rickshaw man. He wanted to arrive the port until certain time because ship goes. So he asked rickshaw, can we arrive there what time? But rickshaw said, maybe. So he said, what does it mean, maybe? Can we arrive? Maybe. Then he forced to have the precise answer, yes or no. So he again asked, can we really arrive there by that time? Yes, we may be alive, perhaps. Right? That's conversation. In this country, taxi drivers, oh yes, or no. Right? That's right. That country, they say, yes, maybe. No, maybe. Why they say that? Because they think something may happen unexpectedly. Maybe jamming of traffic road, maybe accident, maybe this, maybe that. So we must have cushion. We can't commit. So maybe, perhaps, probably, they use that way. But this country, oh yes, we arrived. Just in 15 minutes. Whether actually 15 minutes or 30 minutes or 20 minutes, it doesn't matter. They said 15 minutes. Very accurate, precise, clearly determines. Cut out all potential happenings, possible happen. Their Eastern expression is always there some cushion flexibility there. Here West expression is always clear cut. So when Eastern people discuss business discussions or whatever with Western people, it's very difficult for them clear cut discussions. they think, why they say that way? Something may happen. Earthquake may happen, fire may happen, sickness may happen. Why he can commit that way? I can't commit. Yes, I want to do that. My intention is sincere, but I can't commit it. Then Western people's eyes, he's dishonest. Is it really wants to do or doesn't want to do? Cannot understand. So many misunderstandings. Many misunderstandings. So that's kind of differences everywhere. Naturally, between America and Vietnam, Cambodia and America, or between China and America, or China and Russia, Soviet, many misunderstandings. There are these problems, way of thinking problem, which is more realistic expressions. For that, Northrop conclude, Oriental expression is far more realistic, practical expression. Although many people think Occidental, Western expression is much more practical, can go. But he said, his conclusion is, Oriental expression is really realistic and practical expression. Because actual circumstance arise that way. Condition always may need to change. And their expression includes that. Therefore, that is more realistic, more practical expression. He thinks that way. Same things. Like some people think in Oriental countries, woman should be this way or that way, therefore woman to be that, the Oriental woman like that, etc. That is Western way of interpretation. In Eastern countries, families, if you go to Japan or China, you can understand. Woman's power in the home is very strong. Very strong. Why they became more domestic is because they were considered, they were the person who must take care, who can take care well domestic problems, economy problems, and family problems, and health problems, etc. So woman naturally should be the center in the home. And man to be outside and working and bringing money or whatever, what women need, what children need. Yeah, the woman is both, actually. But when we see from outside, it appears as if woman is slave. In their mind, woman is boss. But in these countries, if we see, woman is slave. So there again, way of thinking is different. All problem is which is good, which is bad. If we define that, that is again present-day dividing thinkings. All right? That dividing thinking we call dualism. Dualism. Separation, conceptual, divisions, dualism. This is good, therefore opposite one, that is bad. It's dualism. value, labels, good or bad. Or dualism. Dualism means one. One thing good, others bad. And also, I and others separated. Separate. This thing, that thing, separate, different. And therefore, this may be good, then this is bad. If this is bad, this is good. This is logic of dualism. So, like Marxism, right? Lenin, Marxism, right? Marx, etc. They saw that economical enterprise systems, capitalist is there, right? Capitalist. Labor is there, workers. They thought separation. And he thought this and this are fighting, struggling. This take advantage from this try to take advantage from them, so-called labor union comes. Organized power, because each individual worker is weaker than capitalist or management. Therefore, we should have united. This is, from this side, this is bad. From this side, this is bad. So, communistic thinking is, this should destroy that by whatever, balance or revolutions. And we should have proletariat dictatorship. This rule the economical systems of or companies, enterprises. This destroys that. Because this is enemy. Typical dualistic thinking. But in Oriental countries, traditional thinkings, they don't think that way. Without this cannot exist unless he make enterprise monies. There is no job. Without this, no production, no enterprise carry on. Therefore, cannot exist this. So they are indispensable. They supplement, complement each other. So they are supporting this, they are supporting that. Therefore, important thing is, if he becomes selfish, if they become selfish, then become trouble. Therefore, let us have their harmony. So, okay, we make labor union, that's okay. But this labor union is not fighting union. This labor union is more how to harmonize their relations. So yes, like Toyota or Panasonic or whatever, very large, thousands of people working, they have labor unions. But their labor union, American labor union, totally different. Totally different. Their labor union is how much they should contribute to the companies. And for that, how much these capitalists or management can appreciate their labor's activity contributions. So it appears the same like negotiation of the bonus, etc. goes. But spirit is totally different. So no labor union try to destroy the management of capitalists, so forth. Okay? So capitalists and management never try to discharge them. So once they get in, after college or high school finish to one company, their custom is they spend in that company whole life. Lifetime engagement. They don't like, I am engaged, I will be engaged in lifetime. They don't like agreement at all. But when the so-called employment or whatever the goes, then that means lifetime. So, of course, they can get out if they want to design, but that is very few, very few. Many people after graduate college or high school or whatever, whole life goes with that company. So naturally, that company is taking care of their families, and when company make money, then distributing the profit, and various kinds of recreation, various kinds of hospitalization, and also pension plan, etc., all company make, without depending on government, social welfare, so forth, company itself is making. And many so-called family type of orientation. So their working is almost unconditionally work for the companies. And whatever they work, the management must take responsibility. If someone fails, someone make mistake, that chief section chief, etc., is taking responsibility. Instead, he discharged this employee. So, something like family. So you understand, American enterprise cannot beat Japanese enterprise. Cannot beat. Because the working spirit is different. They were fully dedicated. This is with contract, this much give, otherwise I don't work. Let's set a goal. If this salary is small, then I search better place. Goals. Very flexibly move. There, if stay one company, that is great. There, if change more company, that is great. Okay. Yeah. And it's difference. Yeah. So same way, many things different. And used to be until recent time, especially for 400, about 600 years. The thinking of Western people thought that thinking is right. And other thinking is wrong. So they try to push that Western thinkings to the whole world. So thinking which is different from Western thinking should be destroyed. And they destroyed really many millions of American Indians, Aztec civilizations, many black people's cultures, this and that. Millions of peoples and cultures destroyed, okay, and killed. And there they pushed Western way of thinking, Western way of education, Western way of religion, Western way of this, that. Okay. And so-called colonization. Together with that, they call this is white man's burden. White man's burden. And they also pushed our religion, so-called Christianity, is the only one religion, only light. So all other religion is wrong. Okay? Like that. So there are battles, fight, violence, murderers, murderings, daggers, okay? Spreading whole world. As wherever they go. Okay? For that, the Oriental type of people, Oriental mind is opposite. They think it's great. Christianity is great. Western civilization great. Western way of thinking great. So let's accept it. Accept. And also our tradition is great. So let's keep that too. So they try to synthesize that, right, together. And naturally, there are various kinds of problems arise, right, while synthesize goes, while the unifying, right, together, right, many problems arise. But after 20 years, 50 years, 100 years later, anyway, they achieve synthesize. And both keeping. Like Japan adopted the all military ways, all like education, national education, all the system, this and that, all medicine, that's all Western way for past 100 years. But still Japan is keeping like no dance or tea ceremonies and Buddhism, Taoism or Shintoism, this and that, etc. As well as they are accepting Christianities. For example, when I was young, January 1st, I go fast midnight, Japanese shrine in the park, and I pray. Then I go the Christian church, Catholic church, and I pray there. Then I go 10 o'clock morning, Protestant church, and I pray there. Then about noontime go to Buddhist temples and pray there. And I didn't feel any contradictions. So many Oriental people like that. This is wonderful, this is wonderful, this is wonderful. This. Why not? Right? We go. Right? That's it. Right? But if we say that in this country, like Catholic people, Arabic people, whatever, that is absurd, immoral. Okay? Immoral. Something like immoral or dishonest. Okay? And because this is good one, but all others bad one. Why you go good one and then go other bad ones? Okay? This is, they cannot understand. This dualism also made the stories God created man or whatever. Right? God and man separate. Okay? Separate. So, God's law, man must be obedient. And God made a promise to man. If you do this, then I promise to you paradise. Okay? There, promise goes. In other words, God and man's agreement, contract goes. A contract between God and man. If contract is breached, then God destroys man. Like Sodom and Gomorrah, so forth. And man is sinner, 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 double N, sinner, because man is man's ancestor, so-called original sin, original sin, like Cain's, so forth, original sin. This original sin, generation to generation to generation, man has it, hereditary. That's, no one can erase it. So, in order to save from that, we need salvation, savior. Savior and salvation, which is delivered by God, mercy of God, or love of God. Okay? And in the case of Christianity, that was Jesus. Jesus Christ. Then, after Jesus died, the second Christ must come, because again society become bad, right? To save for salvation. Okay? And that is the structure of the thinking religion. But this structure is all dualistic structure. God and man separate. Man cannot change its sin. And man is sinner and needs salvation, otherwise man to be destroyed. This very dualistic thinking. On the other hand, like Shinto or Buddhist or Taoism, etc., okay? Their thinking is different. Their thinking is God is equal, whole infinity, infinite universe, oneness. Whatever you call Buddha or God or whatever. And by their law, by their movement, by its movement, man appears. Man is result of this order. So man is manifestation of this. So man and this is connected. Connected. Not separation, connected. There is no agreement is needed. There is no promise needed. Man appears this way itself is already God wanted. And this is God's ways. And this one is manifestation of God. Okay? So, no promise, no agreement needed. Then, in order to be happy, this one, in order to get out from sickness and happiness, in order to be happy, this should understand only what is God's will. That means what is order of God, order of universe, okay? Nature. And he himself, if make sickness or so forth, or become unhappy, that means he himself is making because of he don't know and he doesn't practice. So if he change mind, if he makes self-reflection, and if recover himself, he become again very happy. And furthermore, these thinkings develop, they call Sokushinjobutsu. By the way, this way is English way is writing now. Sokushinjobutsu. Butsu means Buddha. Jo means achievement or realization. Okay? Soku means immediately, or as it is, as is. Shin means body, or you may say I. Right? I, or this body, this manifestation, as it is, immediately become Buddha. This is as it is Buddha. This is as it is, same with God. Okay? That thinking goes. Okay? So naturally, don't need Savior. Okay? Don't need salvation from some other space or whatever, by UFO or whatever. Need only self-reflections and purifying ourselves and meditating or whatever, and to understand this order of the universe and make ourselves free from sickness, free from delusions, etc. And because I am manifestation of God, therefore I take full responsibility for whatever happening whole universe. Okay? And whatever happening in human world. So naturally, if unhappy people are there, then wants to help. If war is there, wants to bring peace. So naturally, acts of God, love is manifested. Not as mission, not as duty, not as obligation, but more natural way love goes. Because I am manifestation of God. Therefore, my spirit, my love goes to everyone. If sickness, they naturally help, want to help. And this orientation is very different. This is non-dualistic thinking. God and you, God and me is not opposite. It's one. So, these thinkings, but dualistic thinkings, sharply different. And now, all Western people must learn these thinkings. As well as Eastern people have been learning and have learned and continue to learn Western way of thinking. And make this synthesize. One thing. This way of thinking is there and that way of thinking is there. And both way of thinking, we affirm it. Just like front and back. Front and back. And we appreciate both way of thinking. Same thing like capitalist and labor unions. They both appreciate as supplement each other. And that dualistic thinkings, also man-woman relation also appearing now modern way. Right? Man to be this way, woman to be this way. Right? Woman liberation was man to be this and that. Dualistic way. Instead, man is necessary for woman. Woman is necessary for man. They were supplementing each other, complement each other. So naturally, we should be help each other, support each other, love each other, care each other should be. That means this type of thinking goes, we call monism. Monism. This type of thinking called dualism. Both now, when synthesized comes, dualistic monism. Dualistic monism. This is the future way of guiding the universe, guiding this earth. Dualistic monism. What does it mean? That is, everything is one, everything is connected, everything is family, everything is manifestation of oneness. You may say God. Okay? But at the same time, these manifestation has yin and yang, man and woman, front and back, beginning and this, up and down. And therefore, they should be supporting each other, complementing each other, and in the harmony. And this yin changes to yang, yang changes yin, they change constantly each other. And their new understanding of the universe comes. Okay? When that universal understanding established throughout the world, that is the beginning of new world. But in order to understand it, peoples, we have to have certain brain, certain quality of brains. Not only understanding conceptually, but also to feel it, actually, to live with it, actually, without being forced in a very natural way. To that, we have to eat certain way. That is so-called macrobiotic diet, macrobiotic way of eating. That is achieving, number one, achieving harmony with vegetable kingdom, achieving harmony with all nature and this earth as human beings, and achieving harmony in the family, achieving harmony between man and woman, different generations, achieving harmony between different races, different type of people, different occupations, and even Soviet and America achieving harmony by eating that way because of changing brains, brain mechanisms of chemical chemistries or vibrations, etc. There the meaning of macrobiotics is there. Now then, let's find out how to find out in-person, yang-person. In-person, yang-person. Okay? Please come. Please come. Your name?
Name is Anna. Anna.
Oh, Anna.
Jacqueline.
Jacqueline. Anna and Jacqueline's. Now, which is yang? Which is yin? Anna, Jacqueline. which is yang, which is yin.
Relative to what?
Hmm?
Relative to what?
Just as impression.
Jacqueline is yang, Nana is
Yang,
correct.
yin. How do you see this? Tell.
Because Jacqueline is compact and small, and Anna is more, excuse me, but a watery, much larger, expansive person.
Any other? Yes.
Well, we also learn by the shape of the face, and Anna's face is more of a long type of face.
Hmm.
The shape.
Any other? It's difficult. It's difficult, right?
Could they contain both?
Pardon?
Are they both? Yin and yang? One inside and one out?
Everything has front and back. Right? So everything has yin and yang. Right? But matter of degree. Right? Matter of degree. Now it's difficult. Which is yin, which is yang. If this is very fat or watery or balloon type of body, if we call that expanding, then this is yin. And she's yang. But if we think bone structure strong, if we call that yang, then she's more yang, she's more yin. Okay? So, yin and yang is various factors there. Okay? Various factors. So there is no absolute yin, absolute yang. All matter is comparing each other. Suppose her lips come out, lower jaw coming up. Okay? Lower jaw is more indented. Okay? Right? Now, which is yin, which is yang? This side what? Already 50-50. Lower jaw coming out is yang. Upper jaw more coming up, lower jaw more, that's yin. Suppose you bite, right? Up and down. Don't come like that. If you come like that, you are yin. Come like that, you are yang. Okay? All right? Okay? Please try yourself. Now find out. Should be, if balanced, about comes. Okay? Thank you. Yin and yang is no absolute yin and yang. Yin and yang is matter of comparison. And yin and yang is relative factors. Therefore, the conditional, okay? Conditional, not absolute, conditional. Okay? Then how do we see yin person, yang person? Okay? Number one, see where they were born. Okay? Suppose if you see this plant, that plant, which is yin, which is yang, first you have to know which one is more warmer climate grow, more colder climate grow. Okay? Same things where they were born. Someone was born colder climate, someone is born warmer climate. Okay? Now, colder climate born person is what? More yang. Okay? Warmer climate, more yin. Okay? Place of birth and its environment. Okay? Weather conditions, of climatic conditions. Okay? Second, you have to see what months they were born. Months of birth. January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September. Fourth month born is the most young person.
Does it depend which hemisphere you're going to be born in?
If you name every month, then of course. Depends where.
Is it summer now?
Huh?
Is it summer now?
In summer?
Winter produces young things, young vegetables,
Because they were conceived in the winter.
so they have to be conceived in the winter.
You have to think
And born
what
in August.
what kind of food he was eating in mother's womb. Okay? So if he passed in mother's womb, cold season, okay? That means mother was eating what kind of food? More young, more well cooked, more strong, right? More salty food, etc. So when he was born, naturally he is young, right? If he passed in mother's womb in warm, hot, or not in any hot, warm season, mother was eating more fruits, more sweets, more salad, etc. Naturally, when he is born with a constitution of yin. Right? Then, fourth month born is the most young. Fourth month born, most yin. Now, 3 minutes, please talk to each other. Please find out. Who is the next person? What is the most young birth? Very good. This is most young. Most in. Very good. Then borderline of young in is what month? Okay? Right? Okay? So people who are born this period were young constitution. Right? People who are born this in constitution. Okay? Of course, even though people were born here, maybe mother ate ice cream, mother ate chocolate sundae, etc. Every day or often, then become, of course, in. But as a general average, okay? General average. More young, more in. Okay? And this is less young, and very strong young, then less young. Less in, very strong in, less in. Okay? Right? Right? So, you can see May, June, July born person have very inside, very young character has. Okay? Like socially active, revolutionist, or hard worker, or whatever, physical. Okay? While November, December, January born person, more this mind-wise, more the clear, more religious mind, thinkers, more thinkings, more mental world is active, right? Many generals comes around here, army generals, etc. Many industrials coming around here, while many religious people, clergymen, etc., coming around here, right? Thinkers, etc. Okay? Very interesting things you can discover if you can find out many famous people's birth months. Mozart, Beethoven, this and that, okay? Goethe or Socrates or this and that, okay? If very famous people, current people also okay. Right? If you know birth month, then you know what kinds of character has. Okay? And why he became like that, you can understand. Okay? Together with, if you find that place of birth, it's much more clear. For example, America, right? Suppose. Hot. In between, more cold. Okay? Suppose these months born people were born this place, what type of person comes? Very young. Okay? Cold winter, naturally mother eat very strong food here, while she's carrying baby. So naturally, that person very. So comparing with him, although he was born this, if he is born here, then not much young, not so much young. Yes, still young, comparing people who are born this area, these months, but comparing people who are born in this area, maybe August, etc., around here, maybe they may be more young than them who are born here. Okay? Same things, hot climate, people who are born in these months is much more metaphysical thinking course. Metaphysical. More spiritual orientation, more the mental orientation. But at the same time, even though they were born here, if comparing with the people who are born this time, he is more metaphysical. Okay? So, people who are born here and here is very metaphysical. Okay? So now you understand why hot climate like India, Israel, etc. can come many spiritual people. Okay? Right? While more northern Europe, America, or especially middle half, the North America, more northern part of America, or like Europe and Asia, etc., like China, Japan, so forth. More, yes, great thinker come out, like Lao Tzu, Confucius, etc., or many thinkers come out, but more active, young, practical thinking. Okay? While like India, etc., is more metaphysical thinking. Okay? Right? And the interesting thing is, yin and yang attract each other. Okay? So this is attracted to this. This is attracted to that. This is attracted to that. This is attracted to this. Because they do have what they don't have. Okay? So, American people or European people who are very materialistic and practical people attracted to like India. Right? This Swami, that guru, this and that, etc. goes. And they are attracted to Europe and America and set up and big, wealthy teaching institutions. Right? So, very interesting. Right? Whatever religious teaching, spiritual teaching, or whatever, right, practical, cannot get out from the order of universe. The order of universe all governs. Yin and yang all governs. Okay? And however, suppose this is because of climatic, but in addition to that, if we see what kinds of food they were eating, become much more clear and accurate. Okay? Suppose if this month someone born, birth month young, he is born north, very young. And that family, his family and his young childhood eating plenty of meat, eggs, or salty food, or chickens, etc., then he is really young. Okay? But if families were eating less meat, more vegetables, etc., then yes, he is young by climate, by birthday, but still inside of him some gentleness, right? Some spirituality is there. Okay? On the contrary, if he was born hot climate like India, so forth, and if he is born here, right, and his family were eating vegetable and fruits, etc. Right? No meat. Then what kind of person come up? Very metaphysical person comes. Right? Very spiritual type person. But that person may not have good understanding of this material world. Okay? And so, depends on what kind of food their parents were eating. Okay? His parents eating or her parents eating. And what kind of food while he is growing up to 10 years old eating is deciding his destiny. Right? Her destiny, his destiny. Life, whole life pattern. Okay? What kinds of climate he was born. What kinds of date or month he was born or she was born. What kind of food parents, he himself up to 10 years old were eating. That makes his constitution and his orientation. After that, wherever they move, whatever they eat, yes, adjustment goes. But cannot change big way his destiny. Okay? Constitution, direction is set. Okay? Whether he becomes spiritual person, whether he become literary person, whether he become businessman, whether he become politician, that is set by 10 years old. Okay? Then what type of literary man? Either politicians or writers, or what type of politicians? Okay? More peacemaking politicians, more agitating politicians, right, etc. Right? What type of musician? More rock and roll, or more like the classic music, or more what type? Right? These kinds can be changed afterwards. By eating difference, by changing environment, right? etc., studies, so forth. Okay? But the big direction is already set by 10 years old. Okay? So, regardless, he becomes spiritual person, he becomes philosophical person, he becomes writers, or he becomes or she becomes the social workers or whatever. The important thing is that if, number one, her or his parents were eating good food, like macrobiotic way, and they were humble life, modest life, not materially spoiled life. Humble, simple life. And those parents were hard worker. Whatever occupation is. Hard worker and honest people. And materially rather than rich, more poor, more modest. And when children, while you are children time, until 10 years old, eating is simple and modest, and also not luxurious environment. And when winter comes, you felt cold. When summertime comes, you felt hot. Okay? Instead of very hot in winter in the house, very cold air conditions, summer times. So summertime eating ice cream, summertime eating steak, winter time eating ice cream. Not like that. More contacting natural hotness, coldness, etc. That kind of person will become great. Okay? If it didn't, right, parents were very luxurious. Parents were eating very various things, abusing. And when you are born and they were lazy, or they are cheating, or they are telling always lies, and the children time, the children's life is very much spoiled. Right? And whatever they can eat, ice cream, this and that, etc., Coca-Cola, going on, etc., etc. Right? Then they can't grow. Body grow, but doesn't grow. They become failures in the life. So, if you are born in poor family, you are more celebrated. If your parents were hard worker, regardless whether they graduated school or not, you are celebrated. And if you were young age, the childhood had many difficulties, hardness, cold weather, hot summer, this and that, and had experience carrying heavy things, going out, working hard, etc. You are very celebrated. Okay? That means you have a qualification to become great person. And same things, right? Same things, all plants. Plants, you know that the way, Iceland. Do you know Iceland has plenty of banana? Many banana you are eating here, coming from Iceland. They make huge the hot house, sun house, and they cultivate the banana. These banana, of course, no natural weather, very weak, very weak. Suppose plants, you eat grains, you eat rice, you eat vegetable, cabbage, whatever. Those plants are to be exposed to weather, rains, suns, storms, wind, etc. By that vegetables or grains become strong and good. But if they were cultivated in the hot sun house, then they become very weak. Although appearance, this one is maybe more smaller and sturdy, that one is very tall or bigger and juicy, but this is very weak. So if you eat those weak grain, weak vegetable, weak fruits, you become weak. So more natural, organic, cultivated or grown grain vegetables make you stronger. More artificialized one make you weaker. Same thing, man. Like same things, all animals. So factor which make you stronger is cold weather and difficulty and modest life and good strong food. if you get this in your childhood, it's great. It's great. But many of you already passed childhood. So, too late, many of you. Therefore, many of you already weak. But from now on, anyway, food, chew well. And modest life that you can do. Right? Yes, please have millions of dollars if you want. But if you get it, spend for the people, for the education, for the people's happiness, etc. You don't need keeping yourself. Right? You don't need to buy ice cream, steak, etc. Right? Rolls Royce, so forth. Right? Just minimum necessary things you buy, right? But all others you spend for education, for this, for that, to make people happy. Okay? Then you keep modest life. And also, don't hesitate to receive difficulties. Okay? Challenge, always help